Alright, so I'm gonna keep it real with you. This was probably the easiest revisit I've done so far. The OnePlus 7 Pro over a year into its lifespan has proven to not only be an excellent phone just in general, but also a great pickup in 2020. So yeah, thanks for watching. That does it for this video. No, but for real, I could end the video right there. It's that simple, but I'll get a little more into it because I've used this phone a ton over the past year and it is still one of my favorites. OnePlus's flagship killer really became the killer flagship. So there's no question OnePlus took some big steps up with the 7 Pro from the 6T. Bigger, stronger, and faster in pretty much every way. Bigger display, bigger battery, bigger RAM count, stronger frame, stronger processor, faster storage, faster charging, so on and so forth. OnePlus really did a lot with this phone, and although it was one of the 2 most expensive phones they had released at that time, it was still priced well below other flagships at just $670, over $300 less than Samsung's S10 Plus, and just under $100 less than Samsung's S10e. It's kind of crazy to think about, right? Now, as far as specs, you'd be safe in assuming they've kept the phone running very well after all this time. And I'll get into performance in a little bit, but I think the biggest thing that stood out to me when revisiting this phone was its design. Talk about timeless, and of course I'm referring to the display because the back is pretty trill. Okay, really?
Get some help.
The back is pretty chill. There isn't a whole lot going on. It isn't all that crazy unless you were to, you know, put a skin from channel sponsor D brand on it, then you'll really have something to look at, especially with their new line of pastels. They're so good. Make sure you check these out. Link below. But yeah, this screen is just gorgeous, and it's interesting because we don't see too many displays with this high of a screen to body ratio without any interruptions like a notch or a camera cutout to this day. Even its successors have camera cutouts. Oh, and it was also a big step up, not only because of the higher resolution, kind of kissing 1080p goodbye, but also because OnePlus decided to go the curved route, which at the time was great because it was aesthetically pleasing. And yeah, it still is. You should know how I feel about curved displays by now. I still love them and everything, but I do prefer flat panels now. Anyway, pair that with that super smooth 90 Hz refresh rate, and we were presented with an excellent experience that would forever ruin anything less. Okay, I'm exaggerating with that, but the 7 Pro really got the ball rolling as the first mainstream phone with a 90 Hz display. It was, and still is, awesome. This of course leads me to the motorized pop-up camera. To me, this was a pretty cool move. It was something different, it was fun to mess around with, and it was a bit of a conversation starter. On the flip side, I do know that some people found it gimmicky. Not only that, there was obvious concern about its long-term durability. Unfortunately, those concerns ended up being kind of justified because there were a handful of posts from users saying that their pop-up cameras were buggy and some of them would stop working. In most of those cases that I saw, people were able to get it to work again, which is good. Mine still works just fine and I've never had any issues with it. Neither have any users I know personally. But that's the point with moving parts, you can never be too sure which side things will end up on. With the 8 Pro, OnePlus clearly did away with the motorized camera system in favor of the, I guess you could say, more traditional camera cutout for practicality reasons. It's one less thing to worry about, and you actually get an official IP rating. It was a functionality over fit and finish move. Now we're getting into performance, and this is where things got pretty simple for the revisit. This phone still flies through anything and everything. It's not like I was expecting it to slow down considerably or anything. It's not like it was supposed to either, but it was nice to see this phone boast top-notch performance, something that could easily hang with the best of what we have right now. Mine's running Android 10 and everything works as it should. A number of software updates have been pushed out to fix some issues for things like performance, bugs, camera adjustments, and more. Those have been nice for sure. Battery life has been pretty solid as well. Nothing to write home about, but definitely nothing to worry about either. It's strong. Around 6.5 hours of screen on time is what I was able to get most recently. Things like UFS 3.0 storage, Warp Charge 30, a set of stereo speakers, an updated fingerprint scanner, and improved haptics were very welcome upgrades from the 6T, and they really brought the user experience together nicely, and they still hold up very, very nicely over a year later. Moving on to the cameras, I'm not really going to nitpick and go into great detail here because let's be honest. These cameras are not going to be on the same level as an iPhone, Galaxy, Huawei, or Pixel phone, especially from this year. But they're not anything to sneeze at, and you will be able to get some very nice, more than usable results, both on the stills and video side of things. And I think my favorite addition here might have been the ultra-wide angle camera for that extra versatility. So while it wasn't a perfect camera system, it definitely left a little to be desired, okay, a good amount to be desired, you could definitely see OnePlus's growth here. Now, one of the running themes with the 7 Pro, mainly when it was first announced, was people criticizing it for what it did not have. Things like wireless charging, expandable storage, an official IP rating, and a headphone jack. You really had people complaining, fist raised and everything, ready to write this phone off because it didn't have those things. And, well, if it didn't become obvious to those people at some point shortly after as to why, I hope it became clear when the 8 Pro was released with its $900 price tag. You can't always have it both ways. Anyway, let's wrap this up, shall we? At the risk of repeating myself, I'm going to totally repeat myself. The OnePlus 7 Pro is still an excellent phone. It is an absolute monster. It's not perfect, it never was, and that's okay. It's fast, it's powerful, it's attractive, it's running the latest version of Android with Oxygen OS, it's great for media consumption and gaming, and of course, getting things done. After using some of the best phones to come out since the 7 Pro's release, I could still easily toss my SIM card in here and use this as my main phone indefinitely. And in my experience, OnePlus phones last for a good amount of time. In fact, my dad's 5T is still going strong, running Android 10 and everything. So I have no doubt that the 7 Pro will last a few more years from now, no sweat. With its specs, its design, its user experience, and updated price tag, the OnePlus 7 Pro is an option you probably aren't going to want to sleep on, as it fits 2020 very well. As of the recording of this video, OnePlus still carries the 7 Pro on their site, and you can find it on other places like eBay and Amazon and Swappa for $500 or less. So if I haven't made it obvious enough already, yes, the 7 Pro is absolutely worth it in 2020, especially if you're able to land one for under 500 bucks. Am I gushing over this phone? Absolutely. Are there other better options out there? You can make the case. You will have to take certain things into consideration, like the fact that this is a rather large phone. Obviously, there's no 5G support, and it's missing features phones like the 8 Pro have. But for $500 or less, it'll be tough finding something that can check as many boxes as this one does. The value is real. There's a reason Mark has picked this as his phone of the year for 2019. So what do you guys think of the OnePlus 7 Pro in 2020? Let's talk about it in the comments. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll talk to you guys in the next video, and thank you so much for watching.